Please, I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Good morning, fellow insomniacs. Hello. Welcome to episode 89 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney Perry. Hi, howdy. Boy, this whole going to sleep at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning has become a real thing. I mean, kind of my entire life. Again, I've mentioned this. That's why I have the Ramblings of an Insomniac. It's not because I record this necessarily in the middle of the night or early in the morning when I can't sleep. I usually record this after I've been up all night and haven't been able to sleep. And then I record the things that kept me up, or I talk about the things that have been keeping me up in general and weighing on my mind and causing me to have insomnia. But I feel like I've kind of always, not I feel like, I know that I've always been this way. Quite literally, since I was a child, I have struggled with sleep issues. I used to have horrible nightmares, very, very vivid nightmares, a lot, to the point that I would walk in my sleep. I would talk in my sleep. This is incredibly embarrassing to admit, and it may be TMI for a lot of people. But again, I like to talk about things because maybe other people are currently struggling or know someone that's struggling or used to struggle with the things that I talk about. But I wet my bed and used to sleepwalk and used to talk in my sleep and have nightmares. I would have dreams where I knew I was dreaming, and I would try to wake myself up out of the dream. I would have sleep paralysis. I struggled with sleep paralysis. So sleep has always been a major issue with me. And it's weird because one of the things that used to keep me up, and I'm at the risk of sounding just extraordinarily insane and batshit crazy, which I'm probably still going to come off that way regardless. But again, I like to tell people things because maybe they're going through the same thing. Maybe they know somebody that's going through the same thing. And maybe if I talk about it, they're like, oh my gosh, good. Somebody else that understands, somebody else that's going through what I go through. So I know maybe I'm not super crazy. But swear, I've had many haunted houses that I've lived in. Houses that I swear have had ghosts. And I swear that I'm not claiming that I can talk to ghosts. I'm not claiming that I can see ghosts or that I'm some, psychic medium or anything like that. I think that I'm an empath, but I think that I might be clairvoyant. I don't know. But let me just share a couple of things. When I was younger, up until now, I used to do odd things like be in someone's home, not knowing anything about that person necessarily. And I was in a home one day of somebody that I just met through a friend. I went to a party with a friend of mine, did not know the person, knew nothing about the person, knew nothing about their background. Went to their home, and I went to use the restroom, and on my way to the restroom, I had passed by a room with the door closed. And immediately I felt like there was a woman in there that had passed away and that it was an older woman. And then when I went downstairs, there was a couch, and every time I sat on it, I just felt a woman's presence. And I had finally kind of worked up the courage to ask the person that owned the home just a little bit about it. And I said, I know you're probably going to think I'm crazy, but like, is this place haunted? And they were like, haunted? What? Why do you ask? And I said, I just feel this really strong sensation of an elderly woman that maybe passed away in this room. And like I said, keep in mind, the door was shut. I couldn't see inside of it. And the people that owned the home were young. They were young. They were in their early 30s. And I was like, I just feel like an older woman maybe passed away in this room. And then every time I go sit on the couch on this one certain spot, I just feel a woman's presence. And they were like, well, that's really weird because my grandma used to live in this house and she passed away in the room that you're talking about. That used to be her room. And the couch in the spot that you're talking about is the spot she used to sit. It was like her spot. And keep in mind, there were 2 other recliners. So I didn't feel anything in the recliners, and that's not where she sat. She sat on this one particular spot on the couch. Now, that's just a very minor little story. There was a time I kept driving past a cemetery that I have fairly close to me. And every time I'd pass by, I kept getting Charlotte, Charlotte, Charlotte. And I was like, what is going on with Charlotte? I don't understand. So one day I decided to pull in to the cemetery, and in the exact spot that I pulled in, I got out and I start walking, and immediately I look down and there's this entire family that had been buried there, and their last name was Charlotte. And there was like 5 of them. I didn't know this. I hadn't been to that cemetery before. I had driven past it, yes, but I had never gone to it. And I don't know anybody with the last name Charlotte or the first name Charlotte, to be honest. I don't know anybody named Charlotte or with the last name Charlotte, nor do I know anybody in this town with that last name that had passed. So I didn't know about this. So that was a little weird. And then I also do strange things, like I used to work at Job Corps. There was a gentleman that at the time I did not know well at all. I knew of him. I knew who he was. We had said hi in passing. We had, just said, hi, how are you in passing? And that's about it. We hadn't had any conversations. I didn't stick around to look at him or check him out. He was only about 10 years older than myself, didn't appear to be sick, didn't look sick, didn't act sick. As far as I knew, he wasn't sick. I didn't know if he had taken time off work for being sick or anything like that. I knew nothing whatsoever about him other than his name, and very casual, hi, how are you? And that's it. And for some reason, I could not shake the fact that I felt like this man needed to go get his head checked out and get an MRI or a CAT scan on his brain. And I just couldn't shake it. And I didn't know how to bring it up. So I had a friend that worked out at Job Corps with me, and she did work with this gentleman. And I told her about it. And she's like, okay, you're being really weird. I'm not going to tell him to go get a CAT scan. And I was like, okay, I know. That sounds weird. Then a week went by and I just could not shake this. I was like, I really feel like he needs to get a CAT scan. Now, I hadn't seen him again. I hadn't bumped into him again. And when I had seen him, it was just a hi, how are you? And that's it. It's not like I stood there and checked him out and had a conversation with him and looked him up and down or anything. But time had gone by and it just was really bothering me. And I felt like he just needed to go in and get his head checked out. And so again, I told my friend, look, I can't shake this feeling. I know he's going to think I'm crazy. But can you please just tell him, hey, this is going to sound weird. I know this is super weird. And you can even say it jokingly and laugh it off. But hey, do you maybe have any health issues? And do you have any reason that maybe you should get a CAT scan? And so finally I convinced her to say something. And he was like, that's really weird. Who told you that? And she said, well, my friend Courtney. And he was like, yeah, I know Courtney. That's weird. And she's like, I know, that's weird, right? And he goes, no, it's weird because I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow to get a CAT scan because I've been having weird headaches and just not feeling well and blah, blah, blah. Well, the next day he had his CAT scan and it turns out he had a brain tumor. Now, keep in mind when I saw this person in passing, he didn't look sick. He didn't act sick. He's never told, and he even admitted that he has never told anybody that he had been feeling sick. He hadn't talked about the fact that he had felt sick or having these issues. So, of course, I didn't know that. So I do stuff like that a lot. There's been a lot of times where people have had cancer and I didn't know it and I had mentioned it. My point is, so ghosts and spirits are something that I am very much one that I want to debunk things first. I want to find a logical explanation for something. I'm not just going to immediately jump to paranormal. That's paranormal. That must be a spirit, or that must be a UFO, or it must be God. I am not one of those people. I am someone that likes evidence. I like facts. I like to gather information. I like to try to figure out where noises are coming from, try to debunk things. I always try to debunk things first or prove things first, not just jump to the first conclusion. So I try to come up with a logical, reasonable explanation for things. And even when I can't find a logical reason, I still don't immediately jump to, oh, it must be paranormal, or oh, it must be whatever. I'm not necessarily a conspiracy theorist, but again, if after I have put together a bunch of evidence and I've seen a bunch of things, it just takes a lot for me to be convinced of anything. And I'm not going to say that they're ghosts or aren't ghosts. I don't know. I have no idea what's out there. I'm saying that it's definitely a possibility because of the fact that none of us knows what happens after we die. People have their own beliefs, and I am definitely not knocking anyone's religious beliefs. But we don't know what happens with our bodies. No one knows for sure. A lot of people have theories. But those things have kept me up a lot throughout my life, times when I've been concerned or worried about people, and seeing ghosts and nightmares and anxiety. And I used to sleep with a million stuffed animals all around me and my covers all the way up to my ears. And part of that also comes from having the home life that I did. Definitely did not have the best home life. And I was home by myself a lot at a very young age until very late hours. So I was scared a lot. But insomnia has been something that I've struggled with. And then I think, well, maybe I'm just nocturnal because I do sleep a lot better during the day. And the reason I don't sleep during the day on my days off is I'm like, I have things to do. I'm an adult and I have errands I need to run and animals to care for and a house to care for. And, I don't want to waste beautiful days, Plus, I want to see my family and be around my family, so I can't necessarily be sleeping during the day. But I've always been a better sleeper during the day than at night. My normal rhythm would be like go to bed between 2 and 3 in the morning and wake up at like 9:30. That would be ideal. That's when I sleep the best. That's when I can sleep. That's when I don't seem to have any issues sleeping. I don't know why it is my brain seems to be able to turn off and calm down around 2 or 3 in the morning. I don't know if it's because now it's just become routine to where my brain's like, oh, this is the time we go to bed because it's the time we always have. So, all right. So I probably need to just change my routine. They say not to lay in bed and try to fall asleep. They say to get up, to go out to the living room so that your brain does start associating with being up, and being out of your room is being awake. But when you're in your room and lying down, it means bed. So if you continue to lie down while you're in bed and not sleep, and you can't sleep, but you keep trying, like you're not supposed to sit and lay in your bed with your eyes open, playing games or watching TV, because then your brain's like, oh, I get it. When I'm laying in my bed and nighttime means be awake. So I know I'm supposed to be getting up and like going out to the living room. And then the minute I get tired, then I go lay down. I've tried that a lot, actually. I've even tried going outside and getting fresh air and then coming back. But it's hard. It's really hard. My brain just it's never wanted to turn off at that time. I've quite literally been this way since a kid. Even my mom has told me this. So I'm like, there are just those people. Thank God for those people, because we wouldn't have anyone working swing and graveyard shifts, right? We need to have people that can function at night, because we need people that can work, in the middle of the night and early hours. But it's screwing me up. It's definitely causing some health problems. I always joke that I would be a rocket scientist. I would be a lot more intelligent and have a lot more of my shit together if I actually got sleep, because there has been a lot of studies and facts at how detrimental it is to your health, mentally and physically, when you don't get the adequate amount of sleep that you're supposed to get. Oh my God, sorry, my dogs are being obnoxious. But if you don't get sleep, it really messes with your brain. It messes with your memory. It messes with your blood pressure. It messes with your heart. It messes with depression. It messes with all kinds of things. And it even makes it to where your body can't process food that well. It messes with your digestive system. It just really boogers you up when you don't sleep. So I always think, wow, if I even have half a brain right now, I'm doing pretty damn well, because you add not sleeping in addition to how busy I am and how much I work and run errands and all that stuff, and how often I have taken care of my family and things. I think, man, if I actually got sleep, and if when I was younger and up until now, I didn't have all the crap happen to me and all the stress that I've had, maybe I'd be like going to MIT. Who knows? But those are some things keeping me up. Some other things are, 9/11 was yesterday, and it got me thinking about a lot. Number one, that I cannot believe that it has been, 22 years? How the hell has it been that long? That's insane. That is insane. 22 years. Holy shit. I was 37. I was 37 years old, and I remember it. I'm sure everybody remembers it like it was yesterday. Part of me feels like, wow, it's only been 22 years. And then part of me says, wow, it's already been 22 years. That's crazy. But it got me thinking about how it took a terrorist attack. It took something huge to happen to make our country stop what it was doing and forget about all the bullshit, forget about all the petty crap, and come together and help each other. And I hope and pray that it doesn't take something like that again. I hope and pray it doesn't take us having a civil war or some kind of, God forbid, nuclear war for us to go, wow, we need each other. Wow, we really need to stop and put our differences aside and maybe listen and join together and overthrow this fucking government of ours and say, we are not taking this. We are not doing this. No, this is not going to continue. You are not going to keep getting richer and richer and richer at the expense of our blood, sweat, and tears, at the expense of our health, mental and physical. We are not going to have our children mutilated and have it be okay to have our children thinking that it's appropriate to cut off their body parts and completely mutilate themselves. We are not going to have people think it's okay to sit around and not work and get paid for that, while other people put their blood, sweat, and tears into working and then getting taxed and taxed and taxed. What is happening right now? What is happening? I know every generation seems to say that. Every generation seems to have a problem with the generation before them. And this world has always had war. We've had war since we've been on Earth. There's always been fighting. That's never going to change, of course. People are always going to disagree. But disagreeing is one thing. Total chaos and the government just completely taking over and trying to, seems, kill people. We have pharmaceutical companies that don't give a fuck about us. They make things that can kill us and then make things that are supposedly the cure. We have a president that doesn't give a shit. He cares more about his vacation time. But like I said, we can't blame him. The man has dementia. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not the one making the calls. He's not the one pulling the strings. We all know this. He literally has dementia. He's not doing shit. He's not making these calls. Either is Harris. Kamala is not, she has nothing to do with this either. So what are we going to do? I really, really don't want it to be another 9/11. And even if another 9/11 type of thing happens, even if someone were to, a terrorist were to attack some building, some city, I don't even know at this point if that'll bring us together. I feel like people will go, oh, well, it's Trump's fault. Oh, well, it's the Republicans' fault. And the Republicans will say, oh, well, it's the Democrats' fault. And we'll spend more time pointing fingers at each other and saying, who's the bigger piece of shit? You're a bigger piece of shit. No, you're a bigger piece of shit. No, we're both. We're all pieces of shit. We are all behaving like children and pieces of crap right now. I think it is going to take my generation, Generation X, to say, fuck it, we're going to do something about it. Let's do this. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's fucking do something about it. Let's stop talking. Let's have action. I don't know. I'm worried. So it's keeping me up. I'm worried about my grandchildren. I'm worried about my sons. I don't want them growing up in a shitty world. I know that we have wars. And like I said, I mean, we've been at battle with each other since we've been on this planet. And sometimes after these battles, things turn out for the better. And unfortunately, we lose lives. And that part is not okay. And that part should not happen. And that part is sad. But usually after something like that, we have our shit together and things are better until the next war. And then things get better. It's just a cycle, just like climate change. The world has always been heating and cooling, heating and cooling, heating and cooling. We've always had war and then got along, war and then played nice. But why does it take that? I don't know. Maybe just because that's human nature. I mean, we have the animal instinct in us. We have that in us. I guess every now and then we have to, fight for what we believe in. We have to fight for what we want. You see it in the movies with love stories all the time. You have to fight for the woman or fight for the man that you want. Or we see it in jobs. You have to fight for the job, for the position that you want. You have to earn it. You have to go after it. You have to fight for it. Sometimes you have to fight for the things you believe in. And I believe in America. I've said this 1,000 times, but countries like Canada, the UK, like France, like Germany, they need us. They need America. Without America, they quite literally would be nothing. They don't fight their own battles. They don't fight their own wars. They need us. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Germany. I love you. I've met 1 million people from Germany. I think they're great. I've met 1 million people from France. I think they're great. I met people from Canada. I think they're awesome. Been to Canada. It's beautiful. But that doesn't take away from the fact that America is a very powerful, amazing country that has some kick-ass military, and we have money. We may be stupid and obese, which we are. We're a bunch of illiterate, obese fucking people that are entitled and more often than not, ungrateful. And we need to work on that. We need to work on our physical health and stop glorifying fat people and stop telling them that it's okay to be obese. It's okay to love yourself, and you should love yourself if you're obese. You should still know that you are worth it, that you are a good, decent, wonderful human being. You may still be beautiful. You may still be intelligent. You may still be a wonderful person and should definitely not look at yourself as a piece of crap, but you are in fact unhealthy and overweight, and you do in fact need to lose weight because it is not good for your health. Being obese is not good for your health, and we should stop making it sound like you are. It shouldn't be looked at as offensive if a doctor who it's their entire profession to let you know if you have something wrong that could cause health issues. So when they tell you that you're overweight and you need to lose weight, they're not being an asshole. They're not putting you down. They're not having, what is it called? Like fat phobic or something. Who knows? No, they're telling you that as a doctor, this is not good for your health and you will die. You will die from a heart attack, or you will die from diabetes, or you will die from high blood pressure, or you will die from kidney issues. That's not him being a douche. That's not him attacking you. That is him being a doctor and doing his job. You still may be a wonderful, amazing person who's beautiful and intelligent, but that doesn't take away from the fact that if you're overweight, you need to lose weight, and we need to stop glorifying this. Just like we shouldn't tell an addict, oh, you don't have an addiction problem. It's everybody else's problem. I know you take crack all the time, or you drink like a fish and go to work drunk all the time, but it's everybody else's problem. They're just phobic. They're just racist, bigoted asshole douchebags who, are trying to control your life. No, they're just telling you that being an addict is unhealthy and not good for you. So we're not going to try to tell you that you're a beautiful, wonderful person. Yes, you're still a beautiful, wonderful person, but unfortunately, you're a beautiful, wonderful person who needs to get help because it's healthy for you, because people don't want you to die, because people don't want you to kill yourself or others or someone else, because maybe you got into a car and drank. Got into a car after you drank, that maybe you drove after you were drunk. But in the same way that you would tell an addict that it's not okay and it's not healthy and you'd want to help them, you should also say that to a person who is overweight. And yet, in this day and age, you're not allowed to say anything that might hurt someone's feelings, even if it might risk them dying, even if someone else could die because they're addicted to drugs and maybe they won't take care of their child, or maybe they'll get into a car after they are under the influence and could possibly kill someone. We're supposed to protect these people? What good does that do? How does protecting people from the truth help anybody? How does protecting the United States, when the government supposedly acts like we can't handle the truth? You can't handle the truth. So we're not going to tell you about Kennedy. We're not going to tell you about this. We're not going to tell you about that because it's for your protection. No, it's not. It's because you guys are shady motherfuckers who do illegal, shady things, and you don't want us to know about it. Because if we did, we would overthrow you. We would take over the government because we wouldn't trust you, because we wouldn't vote for you, because you would go to jail. That's why you don't want us to know, not because you don't think we can handle it. And besides, it's not up to you. It is not up to our government to decide what we can and cannot handle. We are entitled to know the truth. They work for us, just like someone that is an alcoholic. A lot of times they will have where everybody gets together. And again, because I'm tired, all of a sudden I can't think of the word, where everybody gets together and they say, hey, Billy, we are here to talk about the fact that we feel you have a problem. And because we love you, because we care about you, we want to tell you that we're concerned. And our concerns are that maybe you drink too much. We tell people those things because we care about them. We tell people those things because we want them to get better. We want them to be healthy, and we don't want them to hurt others. So our government doesn't have the right to tell us shit, really. They need to go, hey, we the people, you the people, what can we do to serve you? We're here for you. You pay us. You sign our checks. Now they're just signing their own checks. And they always have. And we've allowed it. And now we're allowing teachers and counselors and other people to tell our minor children that it's okay to take hormones, that it's okay to completely mutilate their body. And it's okay to do that without talking to your parents. You know, your parents, the ones that take care of you, the ones that love you, the ones that want to protect you, the ones that deserve more than anybody the right to know what the hell's going on with their child. You have to be 18 to get a tattoo. You have to be 18 to vote and to fight in the war, which I think is too young for all of the above. Maybe not a tattoo, but definitely too young to vote and definitely too young to fight in the war. But regardless, you have to be 18 for that. But to cut off your body parts, suddenly you can be a child. To take hormones that completely screw up your body and you don't have to tell your family about it? Interesting. I'm here to tell you I couldn't hack it in this day and age if I had kids in school. I already am the parent that was 100% on board where if my kids did something wrong and they really did something wrong, they should 100% suffer the consequences. They should be accountable. I don't make excuses. I never made excuses for my sons if they messed up. If they messed up, I would say, you're right, they need to have consequences. But if they were wrongfully accused of something, I was also the parent that was like, no, my son is not actually going to have that happen. You are not going to have him be in trouble for something that he had no part of. That's not going to happen. And I was that parent that was like, I'm not leaving here without fighting for my son. Not going to happen. I believe in accountability, but I also believe in if you didn't do it, if you had no part in it, you're not going to go down with other people. These are the things keeping me up. These are the reasons I can't sleep. Plus, I'm still after over a year now, I'm still having problems with how everything went down with my mom. I am still extraordinarily weird about, I just cannot, I can't for the life of me stop replaying over and over and over things that my mom has said to me, things that doctors and caregivers and Kate Brown have done, and things that have prevented me from seeing my mom, and things that prevented my mom from getting the help that she needed. I think she would still be here today. I know she would still, I don't know, but I feel strongly that she would still be here today if it weren't for Kate Brown. I feel that Kate Brown and our government killed my mom and a lot of people's mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, grandparents. I know they did. I know that for a fact. And I know that there were not as many COVID deaths as they claim. I know, and I've said, and so as many people have said this all along, that masks did not prevent the spread of COVID, nor did the shot. The shot kept being promoted as if it was something that would prevent you from getting COVID, instead of being promoted as something that would maybe help you not get as sick. It would help that if you got COVID, if you did get COVID, it would help you not get as sick as those that did not get the vaccination. That's how it should have been promoted, even though that's not even true. I know people that got COVID, that had the vaccine and got very, very sick. To this day, I know someone that got the vaccine and to this day still can't smell. After 2 years, can't smell a damn thing. So we all know that all that was a bunch of lies to make a bunch of companies and a bunch of people extraordinarily rich. And somehow that's okay with people still. Somehow to this day, people are still going to fucking vote for Joe Biden after all the piles and piles and piles and piles of evidence on just how shady and terrible he is and his entire administration, and Biden and Obama and Clinton. And yes, there are Republicans that are also pieces of shit. Politicians are pieces of crap. I don't care who you are. Even Trump, as much as I think he did an amazing job running this country, he has his flaws, of course, too, because humans have flaws. Every single human has a flaw. No one is perfect. Democrats aren't perfect. Republicans aren't perfect. Independents aren't perfect. Catholics aren't perfect. Atheists aren't perfect. Men, women aren't perfect. And that's what we need to start remembering. Grace, 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 and humility, accountability, and being thankful. Let's have some grace. Let's have some gratitude. And let's start manning up to our own issues, our own flaws. Let's hold ourselves accountable. So, those are the things keeping me up on this episode. Hey, on a good note, because I want to always end on a positive. You listening, you have, I hate it when people say potential, because of course everybody has potential. You are born and that person has potential. But not everything comes easy. Sometimes it's going to be a struggle. Sometimes you have to work for it. Sometimes you have to earn it. Sometimes it falls in your lap. But no, the times that it falls in your lap, just because something falls in your lap doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. You still have to keep it going. You still have to keep that thing that fell into your lap, that came easy to you. You still have to work at continuing to make yourself successful. We always have to work at being a good person, or work at being humble, or work at being kind, or work at getting up every morning and trying to be positive. Whatever it is we need to work on, there's always something that we could be working on and should be working on. And if something fell into your lap, be grateful. And then go, wow, this fell into my lap. So now I need to continue working really hard to keep it going. And if you've had to work really, really hard for something, be proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself. You go, dude. You go, girl. You go, non-binary person. You did it. You freaking did it. You did it after maybe you didn't have any support whatsoever. Maybe you had no encouragement. Maybe you had no help. Maybe it's been the hardest road imaginable, but you did it. And you should feel really freaking proud of yourself. So to those of you who have worked their asses off and have made it to whatever it is you're doing, I don't care what job you have. I don't care what job you have. If you even have a job and you're working, good for you. That's amazing. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you so much. I really do. I appreciate you. And I hope you have the mostestest, bestest day ever. Until next time.